Hey, this is Brandon Jones, author of the award-winning College Readiness 101 workbook series, here with another episode of the College Readiness 101 podcast. And today I have one of the individuals that I collaborate with, I partner with a whole lot, Miss Tyshiba Maxie. She is a counselor, and I am so excited to talk to her. I finally got her here. So, Miss Maxie, so for my listeners who may not know about you, may not know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Brandon. I'm so glad we were able to connect and make even over the summer break. I'm happy
Yep.
I can connect with you. But once again, I'm Tyshiba Maxie. I've been in education as a professional school counselor. I'm telling my age, but I'm getting into almost my 20th season. So like
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
one
Okay.
more year I'll be legal. But I've worked with middle and high school, and I've even done some post secondary work in education. But counseling is what I do. I'm extremely passionate about it, and I love it. I'm here to help, here to serve.
Well, yes. Well, that is true. You've always been here to help. You've always been here to serve. You are one of my go-to people when it comes to anything dealing with high schools, right? And counseling. So I really appreciate you being a part of this. So today is all about starting a new academic year. Like we said, it is summertime. We're about to get into a new academic year, and I wanted to reach out to you because I know you have some tips, right, on what students and parents should do as they prepare for that new academic year or when they get into that new academic year. And so we're about to start the 2021-2022 academic year, right?
Yeah, we're getting up there.
Yeah, hopefully, things are better now since COVID it seems like things are getting better. So I know it's still going to be a bit of chaos at the beginning of the school year, but I wanted to just take a little time to get a little bit of insight from you as a high school counselor and somebody who is leading counselors to help students and parents. So what are your 3 tips? You call them 3 C's. What are your 3 C's to starting a new academic year for students and parents?
Well, there's so many things, and it could be overwhelming as a parent, overwhelming as a student, and overwhelming as an educator. So in my mind, I was thinking, well, how can we, put this in some kind of framework? But the 3 C's: communicate, connect, and collaborate.
I like
Um,
that. I like that
yes,
a lot.
yes,
All
yes,
right.
yes. So
So
yeah.
you first said communicate.
hmm
All right. Tell me what you mean by that. What do students and parents need to do about communication?
Well, okay. So I always say, communication involves more than one person, and then, when we're looking at today's age, everything is, technology friendly. You can, you know, have someone at your fingertips, with a simple click. But I
Yep.
always tell parents, students, now I'm not too far removed. I have a student, actually, sophomore year in college.
Okay.
And one of the things that I always say, don't be that helicopter parent. Okay, I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of that. So when you're communicating, it needs to be twofold. Parents, of course, there are times at the high school level, there's times where we need to step in and navigate and show them. But it's important that they see you do that in a positive way, and then you allow them to communicate. For themselves, and we
Right.
always refer to this as advocate for yourself, advocate. We
Yep.
always try to encourage students to do that. But in communicating, there are all kind of tools and resources. I remember, my students would come to me with, Miss Maxie, I don't know how to I don't know how to see my grades, or I don't know where to go to get my
Hmm.
transcript. The first question I asked them: do you have an Instagram app? Do you have a Facebook app? Who downloaded it for you? Do you know how to get to the Play Store? And if they say yes, I always tell them, you absolutely have access to everything you need. It's just a matter of, of course, on our end, we have to make sure that they're aware, in telling parents and students where that information is. So that's
Yeah.
one of the biggest pieces into connecting and being able to effectively communicate with your school, with your community, and so forth. I know the first thing that I always like to do when my son and he was ninth grader, we moved to this area, and the first thing I did was I checked out the websites. And I'm one of them overachiever parents. I even went in and looked at the school report cards on the state level. But hey,
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
that. But I familiarized myself with the school website just to see what was accessible, what was available, what options did I have, what did the school climate look like. And I engaged him in that part too. Like, well, what do you like about this school? Is it something that you see that you can participate in, or a class that you can take that will help you, something that you like? So for me, I always encourage students and parents to familiarize themselves with the school websites, social media. A lot of times, and I'm just gonna be honest, social medias are more up to date than the websites most of the time.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've noticed that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I always say, and then you get alerts. You get more frequent alerts. It's just easier access on both ends. So connect with your schools and your school districts. Social media. A lot of time that information, the school districts are, they're highlighting the things that are going on individual in the schools as well. So connect with at the school level and the district level. And it's just a matter of searching for that particular district or school. And 9 times out of 10, those schools and districts will have that information for you. Um, one other one other little thing. Emails. Okay, so I know you know where I'm going with this, right?
I know exactly where you're going.
Look, an email that represents you as a student professionally, and that goes for parents and students. Um, we have seen it all. I'm pretty sure you have too, Brett.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, you want to have something that represents you.
Yeah.
And so when you're communicating, you don't want a person to be taken back by that. So just make sure you get an email that you can always, of course, you still can have your personal email, but have something that's simple. Maybe your first name at Gmail or Yahoo.com or whatever. So use something that you can use that you would want to send to a college recruiter. If you're applying for a job, have that email where you just and in parents, same thing. Parents and students, make sure that you're doing that.
It's so funny that you said that, because when I was a college recruiter, it's part of my workbook series now. When I talk to students about interacting with recruiters and interacting with those individuals who are going to make decisions about you,
You want to be judged.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Right. So I always say to them, I say, hey man, I don't want to no email about any body part of yours. I don't want no money making Steve.
Right.
It's just have a professional way of communicating with those individuals who you are seeking help from, right? These individuals who are going to be making decisions on you, or those individuals who are going to be helping you through a process. So that's so funny that you said that, because that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. All right. So communication, right? So find out who you need to speak with, talk to them professionally, right? And if do you kind of suggest that they come and see those individuals, or do you think the email and the phone call is kind of the better way to go when you're talking to somebody at the high school or district level?
Oh, absolutely. And that kind of transitions us right into, that piece, the other C, connect.
Connect, right?
Yeah, you're right. So the things that we just mentioned before, those are just kind of tools to be able to connect. But definitely, you want to build that relationship. You want to build that rapport. You don't want to be that parent or that student that only time they come to the school is when something is wrong.
Right.
You want to build that relationship, and then so that when you need something, or even when you just following up and you just checking on things, you will have already built that rapport, and then you just have that wraparound. So you definitely want to make sure you're connecting with those individuals in your building. And then too, and I always tell students and parents, the beauty with connecting, of course, COVID kind of changed the game for us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You couldn't just go to the counsel's office and say, hey, can I speak with such and such, or can I make an appointment to come see you face to face? We weren't able to do that. However, I always say, you want to make sure that you just, counsel is one of the things that I always took pride in, being visible, getting out, really meeting the students. So students and parents, you have to, make that initiative and get involved, and let your student make sure your counselor, who your counselor is. And typically in a school setting, they're broken down by grade levels. You have a 9th grade counselor, 10th grade counselor, 11th grade counselor. But see, that will vary from school to school. So you will need to find out who that is and make sure that you're connecting. And I know one of the tools that parents and students can use, say for information, something as simple as, I want to check to see what my grades were for this semester, or what my grades were last semester, or I want to see what my schedule is. As we prepare for the new year, a student's schedule will change. So that's important that we plan for that. So it's a part of staying connected, and really, so when you get there the first day, you're not trying to figure it out and you're all over the place. You want to make sure you connect with a student with a student and parent portal. Some school districts may refer to that portal as the Infinite Campus Parent Portal, Student Portal, or some states, some districts use Power School. So whatever that is, and it's just a matter of going to your Play Store, downloading that app. They're going to ask you some information about your child and some information about you. Boom, it's that quick. Sometimes it takes less than a minute. But connecting as much information that you have access to, connect, find out what that is. That way, when you do need something, it's not like, oh, something wrong, the building is on fire, I need help now. No, you try to control as much as you possibly can. So definitely, that's one layer of connecting, knowing who your counselor is, knowing what resources and tools are there, that's readily accessible for you.
So it's interesting that you said that. I didn't even realize that a lot of these student portals was app based, right? So I would just assume that they was going to the school system's website or the school's website, but you're saying they may have access to it, just on, a touch of the fingertips to the phone, right? And so there shouldn't be any excuse, right?
No, I always say, do you have Instagram? Do you have Facebook? And
Yeah.
believe it or not, I ask my parents the same questions. And if they say yes, I'm not, I'll say, sit down right here. I'll walk you through it. But, and it just makes life even, and you'd be surprised. You have grandparents
Yeah.
down to look, kindergartners, it doesn't matter. They can do it,
They can do it. They have
go
access
through
to
it.
it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So you said communicate first.
Mm-hmm.
You said connect second.
Right.
What's your third C for the new school year?
Well, look, before we go into collaborate, there's one other little thing that I just thought about. I experienced this as a parent working with a student coming to my child coming to a new area, and he was like, "Oh, I'm leaving all of my friends. I'm leaving all the activities and club organizations that I used to be a part of." But I would parents and students, parents, you want to make sure that you have that conversation with your child. What is it that they're passionate about, or what have you observed with them at elementary and middle? What do they do really well at? And you want to connect them with that at the school level, in the community level, and even at the district level. There are activities and things that students can get involved in.
Yeah.
So make sure, find out what those things are. Find out what those things are, and that's going to help your child connect, at that particular school. Otherwise, they're not going to really be, happy there. And, socially, that's one of the main domains and areas as a counselor, that we have to help students holistically, social, emotionally, that career piece, of course, that's our ultimate goal. And then academics, we have to marry all of those three in order to be able to help our students and our parents.
Yeah. Well, I just did a podcast. We were talking about kind of getting involved. We talked about getting involved. So that's exactly what you're hitting right now, is getting involved in something that, you can be around like-minded people. Opportunities come out of, being in extracurricular activities or getting in some type of club or, a particular pathway or there's opportunities and connection that comes out of it. So yes, absolutely. That's perfect. All right. So I know you already said it already. You said collaborate, right?
Yeah.
That's your third C. So what do you mean when you say collaborate, and who should they collaborate with?
Okay. So I know one of the things that we, in the district that I work in, what we call a circle of support. You want to, and when I talked a little bit about that in with the communication and the connection, to identify who is your circle of support. It may not all, and I always say, as long as you have at least one person, then that person can help you bridge the gaps to whatever issues or challenges or that you or your child may be experiencing. But identify who's in the building to get the things that you need. And I always tell parents and students, if you go to one person, you don't get what you need, just go to somebody else. And that's the beauty in knowing who your circle of support is. You have your principal, you have your assistant principals, your school counselors. Typically, there are at least 2 school counselors in a department. Some middle schools may have 1. Elementary, you may typically see 1, but at the high school level, you will see at least 4 to 5 counselors. So you want to make sure you know who those are. And then too, you have your school social workers, your school psychologists, and then even with your coaches. If your child, if you I highly encourage students getting involved in an activity, club, or organization. Everybody have different communication styles, but I always say, sometimes your coach will walk you right into to whatever office that you need, whatever, depending on what it is that you want to say. Hey, I need such and such, need some help. And a lot of times I was as a counselor, I built a lot of relationships with students had I probably wouldn't have been able to get to just by encouraging parents and students to know who their support system is. So
Yeah.
collaborate.
That is definitely something that I think uh, I try to do. Right. So right now it's so funny. I actually still talk to my high school counselor. Right. Like to this day, she's no longer at my high school. She's at another high school, but I still am in contact with her. Right. She played a big role on where I am today and what college I went to and the opportunities and resources that I had. And so I just happened to be one of those students that reached out. I was in her office, every week, even if it was just to say hey and to talk. But she knew what I wanted because I talked to her all the time, and whenever there was a resource, she went somewhere and there was a resource or a new program or a new opportunity, and it was something that I would be interested in. She always brought it to me. So I think that collaboration, that relationship building, and that is very, very, very important for the trajectory of your future. So yeah, I think
Oh,
that's
absolutely, absolutely, and it's important as educators, that we show students how to do that. And sometimes we even have to show parents how to do that, because
yeah,
there's a lot of challenges. You got introverted, extroverted students, parents. So when you see that and you identify that, and as educators, we know what that looks like. We have to, hey, just pull the hand and bring them on. So
okay.
absolutely, I believe in collaboration. Absolutely.
Well, I like the way that you put that. So the 3 C's to start in the new academic year was to communicate, connect, and collaborate. Well, that's a nugget that I'm taking with me, right? So I appreciate that. So
Yeah,
so that's cool. So I appreciate you taking some time out and spending this episode with me. This was pretty cool.
absolutely. I enjoy it myself.
Yeah. So for those who want to get more information, I know you're sharing nuggets all the time. Where can they learn from you or contact you or get more information from you?
Oh, absolutely. You definitely can contact me on social media, Facebook and Instagram. Coffee, all lowercase, with counselor Maxie. Coffee with counselor Maxie. All one word.
Coffee with Counselor Maxie. All right.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. That is amazing. So, what we'll do is we'll close this one out because you have given us some good nuggets. It was succinct, and I think that students and parents are going to get some out of it. So I'm just very excited that I had you today. So thank you again.
All right. Thank you so much.
Not a problem, not a problem. So, if you like what you're hearing and you want to learn more, you can subscribe to this podcast on your favorite streaming platform. And you can look at this on YouTube. Follow and subscribe my YouTube channel, College Readiness 101. Check out my website, collegereadiness101.com, and my Instagram and Facebook at College Readiness 101. We'll talk to you next time.